Happy New Year, Good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom. It's wonderful, as I said, to see so many faces tonight. Some of us are new to each other, and some of us have had a little time this past summer to get to know each other a little bit better since I joined up with the community. And I'm so looking forward to getting to know all of you in 5781, our new Jewish year. I don't know about you all, but I come to this Jewish New Year, 5781, very tired, sad, overwhelmed, a bit frantic, in the midst of things, out of joint. And no wonder. We are living through unprecedented times. A global pandemic that has not spared any of us from its impact. In both individual and collective ways, I have absolutely no doubt that this past 6 months has been tough for each one of us. Some of us have lost loved ones. Some of us have lost jobs and homes. We are homeschooling children whilst working. We are caring for more vulnerable family members, or we can't see our loved ones because it's too risky. The liturgy, the words of our tradition, have perhaps never felt more powerful. We are frightened, God. We feel alone. We perhaps feel at times more than ever our own mortality, the fragility of our communities, the vulnerability of those we love. We each come with individual stories to this evening, looking for something, perhaps the comfort of familiar words and tunes, the reassurance of a familiar face. For some, these traditions are beloved and well handled. And for others of us, we are struggling to connect, or the words and ritual are totally new to us this year. Each of these stories we come with is supremely and singularly meaningful. My story is that I lost my grandmother 2 days ago. She passed away peacefully in her sleep, thank God, at 89 in my childhood home in Kansas City, in the American Midwest of my upbringing. Children are raised by the community. I was no different. I was raised by my 2 parents, by my uncle, by a beloved childhood babysitter, and my Nama, as I called my grandmother from the moment I could talk. My grandmother raised me. You know those few specific voices that if you hear them from another room calling your name, it's almost like a bit of a piece of your own soul calling? I was lucky enough that my Nama was that for me. She was, as my mother-in-law from Cardiff called her, quote, the quintessential American Jewish matriarch. She was a character larger than life. The first person in her family born in the United States. Her older brother even was born in Russia, in the Yiddish shtetl. My grandmother didn't speak English until reception, which she remembers coming home full of righteous indignation, as she always recalled it, to yell at her parents, my great-grandparents, in Yiddish, of course, "Why didn't you teach me English?" To which they replied, "We didn't know how." And in fact, my mother says, they never really got the hang of it. My Nama always told me that there were 3 factions in her Yiddish-speaking community of Jews in Northern California: the Zionists, the socialists, and the religious. Every Shabbat lunch was spent proselytizing to the other factions, the belief being that if you just yelled loud enough, maybe you'd convince the other side. We were the religious, which meant, as I came to later learn, that my family and a few others took it upon themselves as a sacred duty to care for and run the small shul in this little Northern California town. Mostly, I think, in the misty-eyed belief that perhaps one day the Jewish nationalists and the communists would quit their own choirs and return to singing Hebrew songs from our prayer book. I guess in a roundabout way, that is why I am here today. So I come to you tonight having lost someone essential to myself. And I tell myself that that is why I am sad and need comfort. And so therefore looked forward to this night, to being in community with you all at Kehillah this Rosh Hashanah. And I tell myself that this is why I labored so long today over the creation of my sacred space, my little space in my little conservatory in Kentish Town that could feel like a shul. But let's be honest, might I not have been a little tired and sad anyway, even if my Nama was still with us? Because there's a lot to be tired and sad about these past 6 months. We have all lost precious things. We are all tired. We are all sad. We all come to this night looking for meaning, which paradoxically is why I am also full of hope. Shalom, shalom, l'rachok v'lekarov, amar Hashem, u'rifa'ati. Peace, peace, to the near and to the far, says the Eternal, and I will heal them, declares Isaiah in our Yom Kippur Haftorah reading just 10 days from now. Peace, peace, and I will heal them, says the Eternal. And thus my reason for hope. Because those words, which we will read together only next week, they weren't chosen for this season, this time of global pandemic and anxiety and difficulty. They were chosen long ago. The hearts and minds of Jewish generations long past chose them in their compassion and wisdom for us to hear at this moment. Because they knew something. They knew that it will, they hoped, comfort us to be reminded that this human life is not easy. And they thought it was a certainty, not a depressing certainty necessarily, or a despairing one, but just a matter of course that their future spiritual descendants, us, might need to hear those words as they gathered to welcome in the new year and to take account of their actions in the past one. Peace, peace, to the far and to the near, says God, and I will heal them. The golden thread of our tradition is here, even now, reaching out to us. From the pages of our Machzor, our holiday prayer book, and from the scroll in the Ark. Never could it have imagined that that Ark might be viewed on Zoom, or that those pages might be PDFs. But nonetheless, those words of comfort have been carried down by the ages, by us and for us. And perhaps we struggle with them. How ridiculous, some of us might say, to speak of healing in a world so broken, in a time so sad. And for others, they will receive the comfort in its simplicity. But those words are there, both to comfort and to wrestle with. All these words and melodies and rituals and memories for this season. As my rabbi, yes, even rabbis need rabbis, as my rabbi said yesterday at my Nama's burial, as I watched on Zoom, both a miracle to be together just like this so safely and yet still not the same. My rabbi said, love is indeed about loss, but you will hear the voices of your loved ones forever, and you will even feel that you know exactly what they would say in moments of difficulty in your life, even when they are long gone. So too it can be for the words and wisdom of our Jewish spiritual inheritance. This process of singing and gathering, of prayer and struggle, of Jewish New Year, apples and honey and shofar and autumnal turning. Like a part of our soul, it calls to us to guide and advise and to be there to lean on. Let us lean on that in this new year, this unprecedented year. And from that place of acknowledging our communal struggle, I still and yet wish us all a truly blessed and sweet new year. May it be in no small part a Shana Tova Umituka, a good and a sweet one.